Welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a super focused, really rewarding goal today. We are going to master one of the absolute most fundamental English sentence structures out there, and that is the subject, verb, and object pattern, or S plus V plus O. Whether you're just chatting with friends, reading an article, or typing up a quick email, this specific pattern is literally the engine that drives English communication. So by the time we finish up here today, you're going to have the confidence to build simple, perfectly correct English sentences using this exact formula. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's quickly run through our agenda for today. 1. The basic building blocks. 2. Meet the object. 3. The S plus V plus O pattern. 4. Why word order matters. 5. Real-life examples. And finally, 6. Practice and common mistakes.
All right, Section 1. The basic building blocks, the subject and the verb.
So if you caught our previous explainers, you probably remember this golden rule. Every single complete English sentence needs at least a subject and a verb to actually make sense. The subject tells us who or what the sentence is about, and the verb tells us what that subject is doing. For example, birds fly, Emma smiles, the baby sleeps. These are all complete grammatically correct sentences because they have that core foundation, a subject doing an action.
Section 2. Meet the object receiving the action.
Now, what happens when an action is directed at something else? That's where the object comes in. Simply put, the object is the person or thing that receives the action of the verb. You know, sometimes an action doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It happens to someone or to something. Take the sentence, Emma reads a book. Let's just break that down together really quick. Who's the subject? Emma. What's the verb, or the action she's doing? Reads. Now, ask yourself, what does Emma read? She reads a book. So, a book is our object. It's the thing actively receiving the action of reading.
Section 3. The S plus V plus O pattern. Putting it all together.
English absolutely loves consistency, and it almost always keeps this exact word order. Think about how neatly sentences line up when we use this. David drives a car. The teacher explains a lesson. The children play football. Sarah drinks coffee. Notice how in every single one of those scenarios, the sentence follows the exact same logical progression. The person doing the action comes first, the action itself is right there in the middle, and the thing receiving the action sits firmly at the end. It's incredibly reliable.
To make this completely foolproof for yourself, you can use a simple mental 3-step process for analyzing or building literally any sentence. Let's use David drives a car as our test case. Step 1. Find the subject by asking who or what does the action. Well, who drives? David does. Step 2. Find the verb by asking what does the subject do? What does David do? He drives. And step 3. Find the object by asking who or what receives the action. What does David drive? A car. Just by asking yourself those 3 simple questions, you can instantly decode that S plus V plus O structure every single time.
Section 4. Why word order matters and how meaning changes.
Does it really have to be in this exact order? Well, yeah, and here's exactly why word order is so crucial. Think about these 2 sentences. John loves Emma versus Emma loves John. Both sentences use the exact same 3 words, right? But the meaning completely changes just because the word order shifted. In the first one, John is the subject doing the loving, and Emma receives it. In the second one, the roles are entirely reversed. In English, where a word sits in a sentence tells us what job it's doing. If you mess with the order, you literally mess with reality.
Let's look at a really common beginner mistake. Sometimes learners might try to put the verb first, like saying, eats John breakfast. Or they might totally scramble the object and say something like, the book reads Emma. But obviously, the correct version is John eats breakfast. The subject John has to do the action. The object, breakfast, has to receive it. Breakfast cannot eat John, and a book definitely cannot read Emma. We have to maintain that subject, then verb, then object flow for the sentence to make any logical sense.
Section 5. Real-life examples, everyday use cases. Once you've got a handle on this pattern, you'll start noticing that you use it to communicate in almost every daily situation. At home, you might say, Dad cooks dinner, or Mom washes the dishes. At school, it's the teacher asks questions, or students write answers. In the workplace, David writes reports, or Emma answers emails. We are using the exact same 3-part building block for every single one of these situations. It is so versatile. Once you internalize this pattern, you instantly unlock the ability to describe the whole world around you.
And that brings us to Section 6, Practice and Common Mistakes. Time to test your skills. Okay, here's a quick challenge for you. The cat catches a mouse. I want you to mentally find the subject, the verb, and the object in that sentence. Remember those 3 steps we talked about earlier. Who is doing the action, what is the action, and who is receiving it. I'll give you just a second to lock your answer in.
Let's see how you did. The subject is the cat, because, well, the cat is the one doing the action. The verb is catches, because that's the action taking place, and the object is a mouse, because that poor little mouse is the one receiving the action of being caught. If you got that right, you are perfectly applying the S plus V plus O formula. Great job.
All right, let's try just one more quick one to really lock this in before we get to your homework. Take a look at this sentence. James watches television. Run it through that mental checklist one more time. Subject, verb, object. You got it?
And here's the breakdown. James is the one doing the action, so he is our subject. The action itself is watches, making that our verb, and the thing receiving the action of being watched is the television, which is our object. It's a flawless, perfectly constructed S plus V plus O sentence.
Now, to really build that confidence, you've got to practice this on your own. Based on today's source material, here is your homework. First, I want you to find the subject, verb, and object in these 2 sentences. John drinks coffee, and Emma writes a letter. Second, and this is the most important part, I challenge you to write out 10 of your very own S plus V plus O sentences. Describe what your family is doing, what happens at your job, or just what you see outside your window. Actually writing these out yourself is exactly how this pattern becomes totally second nature. But hey, before we completely wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with something to think about. We just mastered verbs that transfer action directly to an object, but what happens when verbs don't have objects at all, and instead they just describe the subject, like in a sentence such as, Emma is a teacher or London is beautiful? Who exactly is receiving the action there? Well, the answer unlocks a brand new pattern, the subject plus verb plus complement, which we are going to dive straight into next time.